This was a program-defining win. I have not seen Texas A&M look this good, play this good, and be this balanced. He's kind of got that swagger where if he goes to Florida, it makes a lot of sense. Are they a top 25 caliber team? Absolutely. They're a top 15 team. Their schedule's too tough. But yeah, Vanderbilt you guys did not look good this game. But that actually might be a good thing. Joe Tessitore has brought this almost like WWE, like WrestleMania type like energy. And I'm like, phenomenal fumble, phenomenal choke job by Mississippi State at home. And also, I'm sorry, if you're a Mississippi State fan, how the hell do you live with yourself? And welcome to the Hot Seat College Football Show. I am Trent, your host, on a beautiful late Sunday afternoon as Ohio State has finished their second bye week preparing for Penn State, which I will be going to that game, so I will give you my in-person experience of the shoe and game day and how all of that's going to be. We might go there early. If you want to see me get there early for Big Noon Kickoff, let me know in the comments because I have not decided if I want to get there a couple hours early. We will see a little bit how the weather goes, but let's talk about some of these games because it was a very that's all I'll say. It was a very unexpected week. So let's go over to the board real quick. Wrong. There we go. So we did okay this week. We were 6 out of 10. And we were 5 out of 10. So we were 4-10 last week, a little bit better at 5 out of 10, but two very not great back-to-back weeks as our percentage was at 63. Last week it was 60. Now it chopped all the way down to 59. So I got to really fix my stuff, whatever I'm doing, because we got to get this up to 65% at the end of the season to really, I think, to make this almost like a successful season. So yeah, let me scroll over to week 9. And to be fair, there were a lot of upsets this week. There were 4 in total. So yeah, when the week started, we started off 0-2 with the USF and Oklahoma game, and then we got a little bit better, then a little bit worse, and then I thought we were going to go below 500 because of the Texas-Mississippi State game, but then Texas comebacks to wins, then A&M, and then Arizona State. So we're going to get into all of that. So we did okay. 6-4 isn't really a bad. Or not 6-4, 5 out of 10. It's technically average, but our percentage just keeps going down. So hopefully this week we can fix that. This week or next week should be an easier slate. But let's talk about some of these games which one do we start? Let's start off here. Let us start off with Texas A&M. Ooh, this one I predicted perfectly. So, number 3, Texas A&M goes on the road to Death Valley, which I actually got a little bit of flack for saying LSU is the real Death Valley. Technically, Clemson is the real Death Valley. They have the rock from California, Death Valley, and they have the title first. But LSU does have the win, so I will give the title of Death Valley to LSU until Clemson beats LSU. But Texas A&M, this was a program-defining win. I mean, for them getting this was Texas A&M's first win at LSU in the SEC. They did it in the 90s when they were in the Big 12, or the big, whatever conference they were in before. They did go into Death Valley and win. But this one, obviously they had the blowout win last year. This one was very similar to that one. If you're an LSU fan, which I know there's a couple of you that do watch, this was eerily similar to last year when you guys hosted Alabama and Jalen Milroe. The score was, I guess, a little bit better. You were winning at half. In that Alabama game, it was start to finish. Jalen Milroe was running for touchdowns. He probably is still running for touchdowns, but this was a program-defining win if you are an Aggie fan. This is probably the best time to be an Aggie fan, probably in the last 20, 30 years. I have, at least in my lifetime, I have not seen Texas A&M look this good, play this good, and be this balanced. This team, it has lacked a little bit on defense, but man, they have just both sides, maybe not at the same time. There's been, like last week against Arkansas, where the defense did nothing. Arkansas scored 42 points in that game, but your offense scored 45. And then there's time when you're playing Auburn where your defense allows only 10. So maybe not at the same time, and that's why I think might get A&M is that they will need both to look good at the same time, and maybe that won't happen. But both have played well enough week to week. Sometimes it's the offense, sometimes it's the defense that's better. But it's led them to now they're 8-0, and now they're the third highest ranked team in the country. They are the highest ranked SEC team, right ahead of Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and I think Vanderbilt. Marcel, yeah, but this is why you kind of need both sides to play well at certain points. The defense played good in the first half, and honestly, I mean, A&M jumped out to this big 14-point lead. I think it was 14-3. But Marcel did not play clean in the first half. He had a bad interception at the goal line, like at the 3-yard line. So they're looking to score, and he throws a bad interception. There's the blocked punt for a safety. Then LSU scores and they get the field goal. And what looked like such a promising half, a couple mistakes, and now you're down 18-14 at halftime. And that's kind of when I looked at this game, I'm like, okay, I still thought A&M was going to win. I honestly, to be honest, the crowd, and like that's what was weird to me. It wasn't like A&M was blowing him out the whole time when that's why the crowd wasn't a factor. This game was, I mean, LSU was winning at halftime, and the crowd for LSU, honestly, they didn't even like seem to do it. Like I couldn't, maybe ESPN was messing with the crowd. To be honest, I haven't really, I mean, I usually hear the crowds on, like Fox broadcasts, yes, they affect the audio, and that's why it's so annoying. I think that's why everyone thinks Ohio Stadium isn't loud, is because Fox messes with the broadcast audio. But for ESPN broadcasts, like they usually don't mess with the crowd. So, and honestly, watching the TV, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but the crowd really did not seem like a factor, at least that much for Texas A&M. It also doesn't help that Marcel Reed is the most dynamic quarterback, maybe the most dynamic player in the entire country. He is more dynamic than Sellers, Lagway, Underwood. I'm trying to think of any other dual threat guys. Aside from, at least in the SEC, yeah, those are kind of the big three. But yeah, I predicted this game perfectly. I thought it was going to be like a 34-17 type game, like 37-20. That was not what this was. A&M was down at half, but really stat-wise, they were the better team. They crush LSU. Absolutely dominant in the second half with 35. So you were down 18-14 at half. You score 35 unanswered points. Now you're up, oh my God, you're up 49-18. You were beating them so bad that all of the Texas A&M people in the stadium, which there was a lot of A&M people in that stadium, which is maybe why the crowd wasn't as loud, they all crammed to the student section. You got beat so bad that your coach is on the hot seat, your student section gets taken over, they have to bench Nussmeier, and then who is the guy that they put in? I don't remember his name. But he actually kind of looked better. I get it's garbage time, so I'm not going to... Obviously, Nussmeier is the better quarterback. But if you're an LSU fan, I am not putting up with this anymore. This where we're going to be 9-3, 8-4. I mean, you were, what, 9-3 and 22. I think you were 9-3 and 23. In 24, you went 8-4. You're going to be probably 8-4, 7-5 this year. I mean, you had one of the best offenses in 22 and 23, 24 and 25. You have one of the best defenses, and you're still unranked. And yes, look, I get you're in the SEC. You want to boost up all the SEC, talk all this crap about how tough your conference is, which it is. It is the toughest conference, but you don't have. There's no elite team. Bama's not elite. I just saw them almost get beat by South Carolina. A&M's not elite. I almost saw them get beat by Arkansas. Very good teams. These teams, a month ago, I would say there's no great to elite teams. There are some elite-ish great teams. That would be your Alabama and A&M and maybe Georgia / Ole Miss. I know Georgia beat Ole Miss, but Ole Miss has looked better than Georgia. But yeah, if I'm an LSU fan, I'm not dealing with this anymore. This is unacceptable. Brian Kelly is, props to the ESPN broadcast, the cameramen, because every single time something bad on special teams, offense, defense, turnovers, whatever, they pan over to Brian Kelly and he is cursing out someone on his staff. So that was kind of funny to see if you're not an LSU fan. But if you're an LSU fan, I would just say, can he go to Penn State? Go back to the North. Go back to your Notre Dame, Penn States, Iowas, whatever. LSU is one of those special places in college football. And I mean this with all the most respect. It is one of the most isolated, special places in the country, let alone football. Louisiana culture is not like the rest of the country, let alone the South. They are like this blend of like French, American, Southern, like they are this weird, cool, special blend. And that's why they are so territorial. They do not like outsiders at all. And I think that is the biggest problem with Brian Kelly. When Brian Kelly got to LSU, he fired the strength and conditioning coach who was there for the past 3 national championships in 2003 with Saban, 2007, I think, was it Les Miles? I could be getting that wrong. Maybe it was Les Miles. And then in 2019 with Ed Orgeron and remember the Joe Burrow, that team. And Brian Kelly got there. He wanted to do things his way. He has this fake Southern accent. And then he goes ahead and he fires the strength and conditioning coach. And that is one of the things where LSU has a culture that has been rooted in that state for over 100 years. And you have this outsider. And look, Saban was also an outsider. Saban was the greatest coach ever, but also I think Saban understands Southern culture. Look at Alabama. Brian Kelly does not understand Louisiana and SEC culture. He was the coach at Notre Dame. If you have the spectrum of like football culture and you like have class and Northern compared to like raunchy, riled, tough South, Louisiana is like crazy. You guys are like A&M and you and Bama and Georgia and Florida are like this cult over here. And Notre Dame is the most academic, private, northern, cold weather school. And Brian Kelly to LSU, it's not going to work. That combination does not work. That's why I don't think he should be fired. I think he should leave after this season, maybe after next season. Look, they recruit well. They're going to have a good, talented young team. But everyone on this defense is going to be gone. Nussmeier is going to be gone. Whit Weeks is going to be gone. Harold Perkins is going to be gone. So is it going to get better? Like seriously, for me to an LSU fan, do you think that Brian Kelly is going to do better? Because to be honest, I don't. I don't see Brian Kelly, LSU, no. If this team had a coach like a Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, Marcus Freeman, maybe not. Marcus Freeman is a different type of Notre Dame coach. But if you had maybe even like a Heupel, like if Josh Heupel was at Louisiana, and I know you maybe don't like Josh Heupel, but I'm just for an example, if Josh Heupel was at LSU, I think LSU would probably only have 1 loss, and I think that would probably only be to this A&M team. I think you probably beat Ole Miss if you have a different coach that understands SEC culture. So that's kind of my take with that game. I'm going back to A&M. Cassius Howe, he's dominant. He had 2 sacks this game, 2 tackles. Like this is, and this was like A&M turning it on in the second half. Marcel Reed had 4 total touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 rushing. He did have 2 interceptions. His Heisman contendership, I think, has boosted a little bit. But for LSU, the season's over. You're not making it to the playoff with 3 losses, which is weird because you were coming after this huge win over Clemson on the road, which at the time no one was picking you. And Clemson was the 4th highest ranked team in the country. But yeah, LSU has no run game. Their offense they can't put it together. Now their defense, like if your offense sucks, your defense can't suck either. But yeah, A&M, you're on a straight path to the SEC title. The rest of your schedule is at Missouri, who is a fringe top 20 team. South Carolina at home, Stanford at home, and obviously on the road at Texas. You can probably afford one SEC loss. I'll have to see with some tiebreaker stuff. I mean, either way, you're gonna be hosting a playoff game. The only way that you don't host a playoff game is if you lose, like at Missouri. If you have 2 losses, and that's like 10-2, 11-2. If you're 11-1 and lose the SEC title, you're still gonna host a playoff game. But 10-2, you might have to be going on the road. But we will see. So let's take a sip of my water. Let us do this was the noon game. This was number 8 Ole Miss on the road at number 13 Oklahoma. So this game was weird. This game was a noon game. I thought Norman's environment was going to be more. It was raining, so maybe that affected it, but I did not really feel that much of an atmosphere. Again, is ESPN messing with the audios? I don't know. These stadiums are all, if you haven't been to a football game in person, especially if you're a fan of like these big power teams, the stadiums are so much louder than what they are on TV. And I don't think many people really realize that, especially people that haven't been to games. To be honest, I didn't think Ohio Stadium was that loud. And then I go to the Tennessee game, and that place was rocking. And I was like at the top of the stadium, so it wasn't as loud. But I heard, especially everyone on the bottom deck, that stadium was rocking. So these stadiums are louder in person, so maybe it was just like a TV broadcasting issue. But yeah, this game was weird. Ole Miss really, to be honest, Ole Miss controlled this game for realistically the entire time. Ole Miss won up by a touchdown, then Oklahoma had a big touchdown. It's like 10-10. Ole Miss punts, then Oklahoma has the ball, and it's a safety, and then Lane Kiffin tries to go for it on a 4th and 1 at like their own 20-yard line. And you can see after the play happened, he's like, so stupid. It's just like, I can't believe what's happening. He knew it was stupid, and then he did it again. So maybe that's just Lane Kiffin for you, kind of like Dan Lanning. But yeah, they were controlling this. They were up 22-10 at half. I picked Oklahoma to win this game just because of history of the season, and it was SEC teams at home have thrived. And I said I would not be surprised if Ole Miss won, and I said since I'm picking Oklahoma, I think Ole Miss is probably going to win. That's what happened. My luck has been so bad the past month. It's literally every time I pick a game, it's always the exact opposite team wins. But, honestly, Oklahoma came back. They were actually leading 26-25 in the third. Ole Miss just shuts them down in the 4th. They score 9 points. Oklahoma gets shut out. And then Ole Miss wins this one 34-26. John Mateer, he wouldn't look injured, but he's just not as good as people thought he was. And honestly, if you really paid attention to that Michigan game and kind of see how, Michigan's defense has not been what it usually is supposed to be, John Mateer is not a Heisman. He's not even close. He's not even a top 10 quarterback, which is so weird to even be saying because he's been hyped up. This whole season and the offseason, you could maybe say it's injury, but ever since that, after that Michigan game, he just hasn't looked great. It's just been stupid turnovers in that Texas game. Yes, you were injured. You made a lot of those 3 interceptions were not injury; those were mental errors. So Oklahoma did play decent on offense. Defense super disappointing. So I think Trinidad Chambliss only had 43 yards rushing, but there's a difference between, oh my God, he had a 43-yard run on a blown coverage play to Every third down and long, there's no spy or the spy is not paying attention, and then he scrambles for a first down. That's what kept Ole Miss alive. And on Trinidad Chambliss, he's a legitimate starter. He is a legitimate good quarterback. Is he NFL ready? Probably not. And I don't even know if I think he's young. I don't think he's eligible. Actually, he might be older. He's a transfer. So actually, I don't really know how old he is. But yeah, he's the starter, but it's weird because Austin Simmons came in multiple times during this game on like third and goals in the red zone, and even the announcers were saying this. It's why? Why do you bring him in? Austin Simmons has been cold for months off of an injury. He's not the starter. He's not as good as Trinidad Chambliss. And Trinidad Chambliss has a rushing threat. With Austin Simmons, they know you're going to throw the ball, and then what you can do is you can drop back in zone coverage or man, press up, jam the receivers, and let your defensive line eat. Oklahoma's defensive line is nasty. And that's why, I think he was like 0-3. Like, he didn't even complete a pass. I don't know why Austin Simmons was ever in the game. He did nothing. But yeah, this is the problem for Oklahoma is that John Mateer is forced to be Superman every single game. And people thought he was being the Heisman favorite, and that's why he's going to win the Heisman because he's Superman. But he's just not. Maybe since the injury, Michigan, whatever you want to call it, the past month, even in the Auburn game, he didn't play well. And really, Oklahoma only won that game because they were cheating. The refs cheated them, but all right. Also, I feel bad for them. They've gotten cheated like out of 3 games, but yeah, and this is why Oklahoma's not going to finish the season ranked. Their schedule is too, and are they a top 25 caliber team? Absolutely. They're a top 15 team. Their schedule's too tough, and with how they're playing, especially on offense, I don't think it's going to work out for Oklahoma. Already, they just picked up their second loss, and they still have to play Alabama, LSU, so. Lane Kiffin was talking shit to a player. It wasn't anything like mean, but this player was hollering at him the whole game, and I was like, "Oh, you're being real quiet now," and that was funny. Lane Kiffin is such a fun dude. He's kind of got that swagger where if he goes to Florida, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if he will. Lane Kiffin was kind of saying he was going I'm not leaving. I'm staying here at the end of the game. He had that meeting with his players where he was addressing the rumors. Maybe he told them something. But that locker room looked intact. They looked good. This is the best they've probably looked all year. So I don't think he's going to leave. If he does, I will be shocked. Ole Miss is a legitimate team. I was not high on them in the preseason. I had them going a 7-5, 8-4 with their schedule. Their schedule has been a little bit more favorable with some teams like Florida and LSU not being as good as they were maybe supposed to be. But yeah, will they get to Atlanta? Probably not, just because of tiebreakers with Georgia, and then there's Bama and A&M. But they'll probably be 11-1, maybe 10-2, which is a playoff team. This Ole Miss team reminds me of Tennessee last year, but more offense, a more offensive Tennessee. But yeah, that is that one. That was a fun game. So that was a good game to open up the week. It was that, and then what was the other noon game? I think it was USF Memphis. So we'll get to that one. So noon slots have not been great the past couple weeks. I will say this noon slot I think was actually pretty good. So I ran out of water. All right, so we're gonna go to our 3:30 game where. Okay, so number 15 Missouri on the road at number 10, top 10 Vanderbilt. Yes, you heard that right, Vanderbilt. This was effectively a playoff game for both teams. And yes, did I get the team wrong? Yeah. Did this game go how I think it was going to go? Yes. Yeah, I would say so. Both these teams didn't play well. I thought Missouri would play better, and that's probably why Missouri lost when Missouri should have won this game, I think. Yeah, both these teams did not play well. This was a 3-3 game at half. Coming out of the half, I think it was at the end of the half or the beginning of the second half. I think it was it was beginning of the second half, maybe end of the third quarter. Missouri, they were had a great drive, really the best drive of the entire game. They get down to the goal line, 4th and goal. Prbula not scrambles. It was like a draw. Gets stuffed, gets rolled up on. He has a serious leg injury, and it sucks. All these this weekend, all the fun players are getting like leg injuries. First it was Brett Prbula, and now it's Cam Scatterby, who actually, let me check. I think Cam Scatterby's out for the season. I think Cam Scatterby is out for the season. God, that sucks. Him and Prbula have been so fun to watch this year. Unfortunate. But yeah, it was. So they had a chance to go up 10-3. They don't get it. They had another chance to score 2, and they miss a field goal. It's tied 3-3. And then Vanderbilt has like this stupid like 80-yard touchdown run where the Missouri players got caught up. And I'm a little bit bitter that I lost this prediction because I was pretty at it. I'm like, I think Vanderbilt, with Pavia getting all this Heisman talk, they're in the top 10 game days here. I'm like, they're going to sleepwalk this game. And they did. Pavia had an interception, no touchdowns. And he actually, had a great scrambling touchdown that got called back because of holding. It was obvious holding, but still. Oh my goodness. But both of these quarterbacks had under 140 passing yards. Brett Prbula, he serious ankle injury. He's out for the rest of the game. I think Zollers was the guy. Zollers actually looked pretty good. He had a touchdown pass to tie it 10-10. Missouri gets the ball. I think they punt. And then Vanderbilt scores. And at the very end of the game, there's a Hail Mary. They ruled it incomplete. Then they changed it. So you're down 17-10. Last play of the game. You complete. Oh my God. You complete a Hail Mary. And if you don't know about the stereotype with Hail Marys, is people think, true or not true, allegedly, that quarterbacks like to intentionally overthrow Hail Marys, especially this is kind of like an NFL thing, intentionally overthrow Hail Marys because they don't want to get intercepted. They don't want it to ruin their stats. So this is why Aaron Rodgers was so good at this, was if you have to intentionally underthrow Hail Marys because for the potential of tipping. Like you remember last year, it was Chicago or the Commanders on the road at Chicago. Or no, it was Chicago on the road at the Commanders. Jalen Daniels had that Hail Mary tipped in the air and it was caught by Ohio State legend. I use that term loosely. Noah Brown. He was the one that had that when they played Oklahoma, he had the touchdown pass where he was like the guy was like on him and he like got it against his back. Yeah, that Noah Brown. If you remember that was an underthrown ball that got tipped in the air, and that's why they underthrow, because you overthrow it, it's not going to be caught at all. So you might as well underthrow it. This one was underthrown, and it was caught at the inch yard. Like it was just like, oh my God, he caught it. But it was short. The game's over. Missouri should have won this game, and that Hail Mary, they could have sent this game to overtime, maybe even gone for 2. If Brett Prbula doesn't go out, do they win? Maybe. I don't know. Zollers played well, so actually I wouldn't even maybe say that. I think maybe the game would have ended the same. But yeah, Vanderbilt you guys did not look good this game, but that actually might be a good thing, because one thing, you have been so good on offense. Maybe not in the Bama game. You had a lot of yards. There's not a lot of points. There's a lot of turnovers and missed field goals and interceptions and fumbles in that game. But your offense has been pretty lights out. I mean, you put 31 up on LSU. I mean, I know A&M put up 49, but they have a really good offense too. But you put up 31 on them. You put up like 55 on Utah State, which you're like, oh, it's Utah State. But, I mean, Vanderbilt lost to Georgia State last year. So, I know Vanderbilt's really good. And don't think this team is just little Vanderbilt. but they still have a low floor. They have a really high ceiling, just a low floor. They're just playing at their ceiling consistently, which is why I think they're a really good team. But Vanderbilt, they didn't look great, but that might be a good thing. The difference between good teams and great teams, elite teams, is being able to win in multiple ways that might not reflect your culture. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, Texas A&M. Texas A&M has been, or let's, what's the usually different? Because Texas A&M has been good on both sides. Iowa. Let's use Iowa. So Iowa has historically bad offense, phenomenal defense. So when they win these games 15-13 or 3-2, like 5-3, 5-2, whatever, 7-5, 8-7, whatever, like, you know what I mean? 9-6. You're like, oh, that's good. They won, but it's Iowa. But then you look at Iowa this year and they're beating Minnesota 41-3, beating Wisconsin 37-0. Okay, this might be a sleeper team because they are winning they're a defensive team winning with offense that doesn't reflect their culture. Vanderbilt, the past 2 years, has been where we might allow 35, but we're going to try to score 36 on you, try to score 42 on you, and that's why they beat Alabama. They almost beat Texas. They beat who do they have? South Carolina, LSU. But being able to win in a defensive slugout proves to the resilience of culture, because if you are used to winning by a lot and it's a low scoring offense isn't playing well, that's when you can kind of see teams without great culture unfold and kind of unravel and let the game get away from them. And for Vanderbilt not to do that and to win 17-10 when they should have lost, that is a testament to the culture of Clark Lee. We will see if he stays at Vanderbilt this year. I hope he does, because he has talked publicly about how he thinks he wants to be the savior for Vanderbilt. So hopefully he stays there, and maybe they can get to the playoff. They have to play a couple more tough games. I think they have at Texas, which they're underdogs, and then at Tennessee, they'll probably be underdogs there too. So they got a couple more games to pull out before they can get to the playoff. If they win one of those, I think they're in at 10-2. Probably going to be on the road. But yeah, they survive. And Diego Pavia, even though he didn't play well, the Heisman hype might be ramping up a little bit, as Vanderbilt is now number 9 in the country, the highest they've been since, I think, 1941. It's been a while. So, oh my God. So let's go to our night game as number 4 Alabama at South Carolina. So, hot take, little sidetrack. I think that Joe Tessitore might be the best announcer in college football right now. Look, I grew up with Gus Johnson. I love Gus Johnson. But buddy, you're a Michigan fan, and you've been slacking the past couple of years. Yes, you're getting older, but Chris Fowler is old. You've been slacking a little bit. Chris Fowler, he's been pretty. Again, he's getting a little bit older, but he's maybe slipped a little bit. He is like Tom Brady when he won the Super Bowl at the Bucs. Still, like, he's the GOAT, and he's won a Super Bowl. I mean, he's won the Super Bowl, but like, he ain't prime Tom Brady. But I mean, he's still very, very, very good. Top 5, top 2, whatever. Joe Tessitore has brought this almost like WWE, like WrestleMania type, I don't even know what you call it, like this energy. And I'm like if you look, I know I'm going to talk about Alabama, and I don't want to bring it up because I know some of you guys watch. But when Alabama went to play at Florida State, it was just Joe Tessitore screaming. It was just, oh my God, like, I haven't seen that much hype in an announcer in like maybe since the I'm trying to think since the last time maybe I've heard that. Like, maybe since the Alabama-Georgia overtime game in the national title a couple years ago. And maybe you could say, like, since the Alabama-Georgia game in last year, that was pretty hyped too. But yeah, Joe Tessitore, I think he is one of maybe the best announcer right now I think he is better than just Gus Johnson. And I think he might have a case to be better than Chris Fowler right now. I love watching him. He is such a stellar commentator. But let's actually talk about this game. So Alabama coming off 4 straight ranked wins, 6-1 coming into this game off of remember you had the blowout loss on the road at the beginning of the season versus Florida State. Can they show up to play this game? Well, they won, so I guess, yes. Did they show up? Not in the, kind of, not really. They played well enough to win, which is why they won. Defense. Again, just like when I was talking about Vanderbilt, being able to win multiple ways is a great culture. Past couple weeks, you let Tennessee, I get that game was 37-20. That game really should have been like a 30-27. That pick six could have very easily been a touchdown for Tennessee, which has a 14-point swing. So you're allowing 20, 30 points a game. High 20s, high 30s, sometimes even, has someone scored 40 on them? I don't think so. I don't think so. But, yeah. Defense, 2 major plays. So, Laura Sellers had a swing pass. There's a little dump down to Rashall Faze on the running back. He bobbles it. Bama plucks it out of the air. Pick 6. Bobble 6, whatever. So then they're up 7-3. You're like, here we go. But then, just like the South Carolina game last year, remember, I thought in the preseason this would be one of the best games of the year. And it was a good game. It's not the best game of the year, but it was a really good game. I think it's 14-12 at halftime. Then in the second half, it's 14-15. And then Lenore Sella scores. Now it's 22-14. One possession, but South Carolina is up 8 points at home when you're on the road. And to be honest, Kalen DeBoer and Alabama have not been great on the road. But we forgot one factor. Kalen DeBoer in his stupid ass black sweatshirt. That thing is so stupid, and I hate that it worked. And they showed up the stat, and he's 2-3 in the red polo, but then he's 13-2 in the black hoodie. So they play better. So yeah, South Carolina was up 22-14. Bama gets the ball. They score. They get the 2-point. They had a great drive. They tie the game, and then South Carolina, at their own 36-yard line, Lenore Sellers fumbles the ball, leading Bama with the ball. And all you have to do really is, get a couple runs, take a knee, kick a field goal. That's not what happened. Really, Bama should, Jam Miller, he breaks out a run, and he should have gone out of bounds, kick the field goal, and you win 25-22. He gets the touchdown, giving South Carolina life. It wasn't enough. Jam Miller had a 7-yard rushing touchdown, taking the lead 29-22. But South Carolina just couldn't get it done. It was, really, I was looking at this game like, here we go. Yes, even though if South Carolina won, so we were going to go under 500, and I usually get really upset when my picks go wrong. I wanted Alabama to lose. I know some people watch, and I'm gonna be objective when talking about Alabama, but when I'm talking about I hate Alabama. Look, anybody that's not Alabama hates Alabama. So, kind of some of the off the field stuff with this game. Ty Simpson's Heisman campaign took a hit. It was a small hit. He still had 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. They wouldn't play horrible. But if you actually, which maybe it won't take a hit just because Heisman voters don't watch games. They look at box scores and stats. But eye test did not look great. And it doesn't really help that they're already 1 win behind. They have 1 loss when Ohio State and Indiana are undefeated. When they had lost to Florida State. But man, for the team bounce back the way they have, that is a culture statement from Kalen DeBoer. And really, when a lot of people doubted him, to be honest, this is what kind of happened last year. You beat Georgia, and you lose to Vanderbilt, then you lose to Tennessee, and then you come all the way back, you destroy LSU, you're back, Alabama's back, Kalen DeBoer's the GOAT. and you get blown up by Oklahoma. So let's just like chill it a little bit. Let the regular season end before we hype up Alabama as like a national title contender. I think they are, but we thought they were last year too. So, some negative stuff. Jam Miller's been a little bit disappointing. He's a good running back. They just haven't been able to run the ball great this game. Ryan Williams has been disappointing. He has struggled with drops, which is so weird because he had all these like where he would bobble a ball in the air, then catch it, like all these great catches. I don't know what's going on with him. But aside from that, the rest of the team has just been absolute stellar. Bama and A&M are the best teams in the SEC. Right below them is probably Ole Miss and Georgia, maybe even Tennessee, Texas. I think they're a little bit lower. They're on like tier 3. Vanderbilt's they're in between tier 2 and tier 3. I want to see a little bit. I want to see them play Georgia, which I know they aren't, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, that's kind of a good win. Obviously, you had 4 ranked wins in a row. You're not going to bring your A game every time, but a little bit of concerning from Alabama. So, some of these other games, Illinois at Washington. Washington dog. Yeah, they beat Illinois pretty bad. This one was 42-25. Illinois took a lead. It was close at halftime. And this is great if you're an Ohio State fan because look, for the Big Ten it sucks because Illinois going 10-2 is a possibility because they don't really play anybody else aside from Washington. Now that they lost, they're out for the season. Washington only has 2 losses, so if they win out, they'll get them, but they still have to play Oregon. I think they're at Oregon too. Michigan to go 10-2 if they beat Ohio State. Iowa to beat 10-2, they have to beat Oregon. Who else? I think that's it. See, now it's pretty much confirmed. The Big Ten's only going to get 3 teams in. Illinois' only hope is if they won this game, they don't. It does help that I would have, I guess, rather had Washington win because that was that was the win where it's like you beat Illinois and Washington both by 18, but you only held Washington to 6 points when Illinois scored 13, and Washington just put up 42 on Illinois, and you held them to 6. And both games were at home for Washington, so I think that is a testament to Ohio State's defense. Iowa State, oh my God, this one made me so upset. You were up 24-10. You're dominating BYU. You have a touchdown, a 75-yard touchdown pass, the first play of the game, and then it just falls apart. You had 3 interceptions, a pick 6 at the end. You were so close. They end up falling 41-27. Just super disappointing from Iowa State. Because I picked them to win. Texas at Mississippi State. I thought this game was over. So Texas is down 38-21. And then you have Mississippi State coming all the way, they're coming all the way back. Mississippi State's back. Look, they're a good team. And then Texas, little old Texas, Arch has a really good throw in the end zone. They have they have another touchdown. Then they have the punt return by Niblett, Niblett, who has absolutely been stellar this year for Texas. They take this one to overtime. They end up winning, holding off Mississippi State 45-38 in overtime. They had, what would it have been? So 38-21, 24 unanswered points to win. So what a phenomenal, impressive comeback from Texas. Phenomenal fumble, phenomenal choke job by Mississippi State at home. And also, I'm sorry, if you're a Mississippi State fan, how the hell do you live with yourself? Your stadium is so annoying. And I heard people talking that. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I would love to do that. Is it illegal? Probably. And it's probably unfair. And I thought it was funny, the cowbell thing. It's annoying. And then you actually have to listen to it for an hour and a half as you're trying to watch the fourth quarter of this game. I've never hated Mississippi State more in my life than I do for this game. So, yeah, Texas holds off and wins. I guess they covered. They won by 7. So, can you get mad at Texas? They covered, but yeah. This one made me really, really happy because I picked them to win. Cincinnati hosting Baylor. They were 3.5-point favorites. Cincinnati now being ranked for the first time since I think they went to the playoff. Maybe 2021, they were ranked. They end up absolutely trumping Baylor 41-20. Brent Sorby he's a really good quarterback for Cincinnati. He has been lights out, and that they really just shut down that Baylor offense. I expected more from Sawyer Robinson. Didn't do much, only scoring 20. Arizona State hosting Houston. Look, I picked Arizona State to win this game. Kind of wanted to be safe. I kind of saw this coming. I maybe should look into more some of these games because I did not really know that Jordan Tyson was injured. Either way, you're down 24-0 in the fourth quarter. They had an attempt to come back with 24-16, and then it kind of just fell apart. So Houston ends up winning, and now Houston's ranked. We'll get to the AP poll in a second. And then is this the biggest shocker one? No. If Texas losses that would be the shocker of the week, but Memphis. They had the awesome win at hosting Arkansas. And then they lost to UAB, who is absolutely terrible, who just fired their coach Trent Dilfer. They lose on the road, I think it was on the road, to UAB. Now they're hosting top 20, number 18th ranked USF. They're a touchdown favorite. And USF gets beat. Like, Memphis is all over the place on offense. And the ending sequence of this game was so frustrating if you're a USF fan because you're in field goal range. You try to get greedy and try to go for the win, which I can't blame you. And then you get a holding call, which bumps you out of field goal range. It's a 52-yarder. He misses it as USF will fall to Memphis, with Memphis winning 34-31. Absolute stellar game. So that's how those wins. We had 4 upsets. Went 5-5 on our picks, better than last week. We're at 500. Don't want to be below 500 again, but we were very close because Texas was very close to losing to Mississippi State. So, what else? So yeah, let's go to the AP poll because I have a couple things to say about the AP poll. So here, let us switch over. Oh, that's actually a good view for it. Is this the? No, where's the? I guess I don't have it anymore. All right, so yeah, you have Ohio State at 1, and I know you. There you go. Ohio State with 54 first place votes. Indiana at 2 with 11, then A&M at 3 with 1. You got Bama 4, Georgia 5, Oregon 6. Top 6 did not change. Oregon struggled at home. Look, if you watch that game, you understand. I mean, Wisconsin played Oregon really close last year. Wisconsin was better last year, but still. This one was 21-0, and then Wisconsin scored their first points off almost like this beautiful long pass from Simmons, and then they had a play fake touch on that Ford Oregon. So that's how they got their 7 points. But look, you're at home. You don't really need to do anything. You start the game with an onside kick, which is kind of douchey. But I get it. They're at Iowa next week. You got to make them. You got to put some stuff on tape for them to game plan for. But yeah, look, it's raining at home. You don't want to. This team sucks. Wisconsin sucks. And you're on your backup quarterback. So, I get it. I'm not going to fault Oregon. Everyone has a close game. Ohio State will... Actually, I don't know if Ohio State's going to have a close... Well, a close game to a lower-ranked team. Maybe Rutgers, because that's before the Michigan game. Ole Miss goes up to 1-7. Georgia Tech down 1, which... I don't know. They looked pretty good. But, yeah, I understand why Ole Miss went up. So, I think Bama is still the highest-ranked one-loss team. Vanderbilt at 9, they jump up 1. Miami falls 1. This game was weird because Stanford scored and then Miami scored. It was 7-7 at halftime, And then the final score was 42-7. So, yeah, weird from Miami. BYU at 10. So, okay. Oh, my God. I hate this. I hate how the AP vote does this, where when two teams have the same amount of points, instead of just doing one at 10, one at 11, we have to tie them. And if we're tying them, BYU should be above Miami because they're undefeated. So really, Miami is BYU's 10, Miami's 11. Don't give me this stupid nonsense. Notre Dame at 12. So if we're doing playoff bracket, Notre Dame would be the first team out, but some of these teams are going to lose. So if Notre Dame wins out, which they probably will, they have no one left on their schedule. But they might drop one, would not be surprised. I would be surprised, not shocked. Texas Tech, they're up 1. They win like 42-0. Tennessee's up 3. Virginia, this is not a top 25 team. They're going to lose probably 2 more games, maybe 1 more game. But 10-2 Virginia, that is but remember, their one loss was at NC State, which is a conference team, was not a conference game. So, kind of funny from Virginia. So they have no ACC loss. So if they lose another game, they might still go to the ACC title. Louisville at 6-1, they move up 3. Why is Louisville below Miami? They have practically the same. They have the same record, and Louisville beat them on the road. Could not tell you. Cincinnati up 4 spots. They looked very good against Baylor. This team might win the Big 12. I hope they do. That would be awesome to get 2 Ohio teams in the playoff. Oklahoma down 5. Missouri down 4. Texas up 2 for some reason. Look, I'm not going to drop you out of the top 25 when you win an SEC game on the road. We'll scrap that. Winning a game on the road at all. But I don't know why you moved up. I think Michigan should be ranked higher than you. They move up 4 with their convincing kind of win over Michigan State. Houston's ranked, getting some respect. They're 7-1. Connor Wegman, told you I was pretty high on him. He's been pretty good. USC ranked again. They're 5-2. Utah at 24. Then Memphis ranked at 25. My only real complaints is like why is Michigan above USC? And then why is Navy not ranked? They're at 26. Why are they not ranked? That absolutely makes no sense. Why isn't Washington ranked? I don't get it. They weren't ranked when they were undefeated. When they had one loss, they should have been ranked. They just beat a top 23 team who now has the same record as them. They're still not ranked. Washington should be ranked. I'm trying to think, who could you move out of the top 25? You could move Utah out and put Washington. You can move US. I honestly I don't know. Maybe I would probably put Washington maybe over Memphis. And again, Navy. Why isn't Navy ranked? They're undefeated. So AP poll doing AP poll things. I don't get it. I think there's a couple other things I want to talk about. I think that was it. So a little bit, this is kind of for every Ohio State fan watching this, or if you're a Jets fan too. So this morning we had some really unfortunate news as Nick Mangold, Ohio State Hall of Famer. He was a center. He was the face of the Jets for 11 years. He was a Pro Bowler 7 out of those 11 years as an offensive lineman. He was really the face of that franchise. And in 2006, he was diagnosed with some kidney problems. And 2 or 3 weeks ago, I remember getting a post on my feed, and it was from a player that I didn't know. I didn't know who Nick Mangold was, but he reached out to everybody saying that if there were any Ohio State or Jets fans or anybody that knew someone or could donate a kidney, he was looking for one because of the problems and the kidney failure that he was dealing with. And unfortunately, this morning, it was maybe it happened last night, but I think it was this morning, it was announced that Nick Mangold has passed away at the age of 41, which, man, that is so young. Like, I'm really young. Like, I'm 17, if you don't know. So I am very young. And to kind of like have this idea, everyone has this idea that they're going to live to their 80s and their 90s or whatever. And just to realize that someone like him that was just so kind and so important and special, to pass away at 41 is just really sad to see. And I would like to think, if you are like religious at all or believe in any like spiritual stuff, that the Jets, who were 0-7, they were 0-7, picked up their first win the day that he left us, 39-38 over the Bengals, who are an Ohio team. I just think that's so poetic. And if the Jets, I don't think the Jets is really just, I think that is a ownership issue for the Jets. But for the Jets to pick up a win against a team that the specific, like an Ohio team, remember Nick Mangold played for Ohio State, to do that, to get their first win in thrilling fashion against an Ohio team on the morning that he passed, I almost have to think that was him. He was watching, and that was for him. And I wish he could have seen it, but that one was for Nick Mangold, for the Jets picking up their first win of this season. So that will bring us to the last segment, a little bit on a lighter note of this episode. This has been a really long episode, so if you have watched to the end of this video, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. We just hit 12 subs. We're going to post shorts of these. The shorts have been blowing up, which has been awesome. I love to see the channel grow. But you all know what time it is. This is who is on the hot seat for week 9. Who is the hottest coach? Pause. And I think we all know who it is. This is Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly, you are on the hot seat, my friend. That loss was just embarrassing, and I mean, should you be fired? No, I don't think so. But you might have to go. Like Brian Kelly to Penn State. What's wrong with that? So that is all I have for you today. Thank you for sticking on for this very long episode of After the Whistle. We will see you later this week to do our preview of Ohio State Penn State. And obviously on Friday, we'll go over all the games. So yeah, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the like button, turn on notifications, like the shorts, leave a comment, do everything, help the channel, because I love seeing all the support from you guys. I hope you guys all have a fantastic night, and I will see you guys all then. Thank you.